Keshava, Madhusudana, Murari, Kamsantaka, because Krishna has conquered Keshi, killed Madhu, destroyed Mura, slayed Kamsa. Where do names in Indian Itihasa and Purana come from? You've got an immense variety of name for people. These are derived from so many sources. A single person may have 100, sometimes even 1,000 odd names. Surely there is some logic they are using to create this wide variety of names. Today I want to introduce you to a few of these. Let's start with the consort. This one is simple. The name of their consort gives them the name. For example, Sitapati, Umapati, Lakshmipati. So these are Rama, Shiva and Vishnu, because they are the husbands of Sita or Uma or Lakshmi. Then there is Shachin, which is basically Indra, because it is Indra who is the consort of Shachi. The other way around, Indrani is Shachi, whose consort is Indra, right? So Indra is known by Shachi's name, Shachi is known by Indra's name as well. Another word that is often attached is Priya. So Vishnu Priya would be Lakshmi, who is Vishnu's beloved, right? And then there's a long one. It's Shiti Kantha Kutumbini. Shiti Kantha, the one who has a blue throat, which is Shiva, and this is the consort of the one who has a blue throat. Therefore, it is Parvati. So, based on their consort, you get some names. Now, let's look at their name based on where they come from. The simple one is Panchali, who is Draupadi basically, who hails from the kingdom of Panchala. Or Kaikeyi. We are not taking the Kaikeyi from Ramayana here. We are taking the one who is from Mahabharata. There is a character in Mahabharata called Sudeshna, who is the wife of King Virata and the mother of Uttara and Uttara. She is from the kingdom of Kekaya. Then there is Vaidehi or Maithili. Sita is Vaidehi and Sita is Maithili also, because she comes from the kingdom of Videha, or the capital city of Mithila, right? So, named after their place of origin. Now, when we are talking about kings, adding the word Naresh or Pati to get the king's name. Often, the name of the king and the kingdom is same also. An example is Gandhara Naresh, which is Shakuni, who is the king of the Gandhara kingdom. Then there is Dwaraka Pati, who is Krishna, because he is the king of the Dwaraka kingdom. Now there are two interesting cases, Virata and Drupada, whose name and the name of their kingdom is the same, right? So that's one way to do it. Now, named after a body part. The obvious one, Shiva, called as Nilakantha, because of blue throat. The throat being a significant body part here. Pundari Kaksha or Kamala Nayana, right? Krishna, the one with eyes like lotus, Pundarika or Kamala. Then there is Sugriva, and this Sugriva is not the Sugriva from Ramayana, who is the king of Vanaras, but instead we are picking up Krishna's horse, who's named Sugriva, because the griva or the neck is beautiful. Then there is Narasimha, who's Vishnu's avatara, the one with lion's face, and therefore the Simha comes into picture. Then there is Vrikodara, who is Bhima basically, because he has a belly like a wolf, because he ate so much and so voraciously. Vrika basically means wolf. Then there is Gajavadana, the obvious one, Ganesha, the one who has the face of an elephant. So that's the naming after a body part. Then, named after their mount or the vehicle or an animal upon which they travel. So Ganesha would be called Mushaka Vahana because he travels on a mouse. Vishnu would be called Garuda Vahana because he travels upon Garuda, the king of birds. Another interesting name here is for Arjuna, he's called Shweta Vahana because his chariot is yoked with white horses, right? It's not Shvetashva Vahana Even though that would make sense, but Shvetavahana is a very well-known name for Arjuna. Then there is Indra, who travels upon clouds, and that is Meghavahana, named after a possession. Muralidhara, Krishna, because he has a flute. Modaka Hasta, Ganesha, the one who has a Modaka sweet in his hands. Kapalin or Shiva, the one who wears a necklace made of skulls. Remember, this is an artifact or a possession as well. Now, this becomes interesting because the weapon that they use, because all Kshatriyas and some Brahmanas also carried a weapon that identified them. So, Indra, the one who wields the lightning, would be called Vajradhara, because the Vajra is his weapon. Or Gadadhari, Bhima, is the one who carries a mace. Then there is Halayudha, which is Balarama, the one whose weapon is a plow. Then there is Gandivi, Arjuna, the one whose bow is named Gandiva. Then there is Chakrapani, Krishna, who has a discus in his hand. Parashurama, who is basically called Rama, but because he fights with a battle axe, this Rama, who's the son of Jamadagni, is called Parashurama. Now, there are some enemies, some asuras who are so important that defeating them is an achievement in and of itself. So, many names of Krishna are derived from the enemies that he has conquered. So, Keshava, Madhusudana, Murari, Kamsantaka, all of these come because Krishna has conquered Keshi, killed Madhu, destroyed Mura, slayed Kamsa, and all of that. Indra is known as Vritrahan because he ended Vritra. Then there is Durga, who's called Mahishasura Mardini, because she is the one who destroyed Mahishasura. Another great way of naming people in the Itihasa Purana is that they are named after a worthy achievement. Because once you tell that name, you've got to recount the story because of which they got this name, right? So, Indra would be called Shatakritu, which is someone who performed 100 Ashwamedha Yagnas. And then there is stories about how when somebody else reaches 99, Indra becomes a little careful because they might attack Swarga next, and that leads into a long story afterwards. Then there is another name for Krishna. He's called Giridhara because he lifted and held up a mountain. The obvious question that follows is why? And it is a segue into the story of how Krishna protected all the people in Mathura when it was raining heavily, and Indra had taken offense to something because they were worshipping the mountain, all of that. Then there is Tripura Samhari or Tripurari or Tripurantaka. All of these are names for Shiva because he destroyed the airborne cities called Tripura. That has got to be worth another long story about how a bunch of cities formed, they got airborne and nobody could destroy it. They would come together only once in a while. I think I'll make another video talking about all of these three worthy achievement stories at least. But I hope you now understand where some names come from. Another very important source of names is names based upon the parents or ancestors. But that's a video for another day.